This is a book that I did pick up one day at the library in Commerce, which was called Killing Monsters: Why Children Need Fantasy, Superheroes, and Make-Believe Violence. It does a little bit to alleviate some fears, but this was written so many years ago. I don't remember what year this was. 2002. So after Columbine, but before a lot of other tragedies, after 9/11. A lot of children in this book were traumatized, but in this book, a lot of kids like to play with guns. Now, what took me out of wanting to play with guns was the fact that my dad collected Colts, he collected Winchesters, he collected Smith and Wessons, he collected Rugers, semi-automatic pistols. He was never into assault rifles or machine guns. He was into rifles. I think he might have been into hunting when he was in his 40s, actually 30s and 40s, but in his 30s during the 1970s. My sisters competed in rifle range target shooting and won trophies. He took me to rifle ranges to go shoot. I would go to like Victorville to rifle ranges and shoot at targets. So I haven't fired a gun since I was in my teens. It's been a long time. I think one of the reasons I was never prompted to kill people in a school or in a shopping mall or a theater or a community gathering was because I never felt I didn't like my father very much, and there was no love in this family. I still don't feel it toward anybody else. I don't care what anyone else wants. You can be near me, but you're not doing anything. Nothing's gonna really happen. So I have animosity and hate towards my family. But to fire guns, to me, it's not something that I feel motivated towards. Now, in this book, there was something about, I couldn't find it. I tried looking for it, about a young boy who was not named, whose dad gave him guns. This dad never wanted to spend time with this kid. This dad fucked mom, and mom made baby, and here's baby. And as a teenager, he was growing up bitter and angry. And his dad never spent time with him, but gave him real guns to practice. I mean, because some people had guns as a way to enforce violence in themselves, as rage. When kids pick up sticks, or they use their fingers, or they use slingshots, or they use Nerf guns, they get out some inner rage. And most of them don't do that kind of thing. They don't go to a school to go start shooting at people. In fact, very few do, and those few that do make the news. So this kid, in the example in this book, wanted to shoot at something. And because his dad never spent enough time with him, he took real guns and eventually went to his school, his high school, and enacted violence. And I don't think that was the Columbine one. The Columbine one, you had the two kids modifying, reported that they had modified a game of Doom to enact their school shooting, but this was a different incident. And what I learned from all this is that, yes, we're all going to learn to play with guns, even if they're not real guns, even if they're electric guns or Nerf guns or missile Nerf guns or water guns or air hog guns, anything like that. Because we need to do something. We need to play Doom. We need to play Quake. We need to play Wolfenstein. We need to play something. VR guns. It's how we feel. I hated real guns after my dad. My dad, one time, I have not told this story, so if any of my family members happen to stumble upon this video, congratulations, here you are. Do you want a medal? So the last time I shot a gun for real, it was at the rifle range. And my dad was disappointed because I wasn't shooting the targets where he wanted me to. And so we drove home, he was pissed off at me. And then like a week before that, he had a bottle, I guess it was a bottle in a brown paper bag. You know, when people buy brown paper bag stuff from a liquor store, you know what the fuck they bought. They bought something heavy. So my mom would ask about my dad, shut up, I don't have anything in there, shut up. You know, this is kind of like remember the Tom Likas link about drunk dads I gave you? Shut up, I don't, there's nothing in there. So when we drove home from the rifle range, he drank tequila and he was fucking wasted. And I went to his back house. Now, at back house, if you go in that back house, there's dust, there's cement dust, and there's chalk dust. The air is dusty, and there's classical music in the background, and there's dog hair because we had dogs, and they stank up the blankets on the couch. Everything was worn out. You had 1930s to 1970s furniture, dusty and old. We had rats. Every once in a while, a rat would pop up. You had spider webs. You had dusty floors, creaky floors. You had history books on the Civil War from the actual time period up on the shelf that he would never read anymore. And he had a turquoise cabinet full of rifles and guns. And not only did my father have guns, he had powders and a cauldron where you put liquid metal to make the bullets. So he would make the bullets, punch out the casings with a puncher, a specialized puncher. Put the gunpowder and bullets on scales to weigh the amount of powder. Then he would crunch the bullets into the casings, and then he put the casings in boxes so they can go to the rifle range. So he went out of his way to make his own bullets and measure the gunpowder and put the bullets in the casings. Eventually, when he died, we sold a lot of the stuff in the back house, and the sheriff's department in Los Angeles got most of the guns and gave my mom whatever the fuck they wanted to give her. So that back house was his sort of torture room to sort of beat the shit out of me if I wasn't behaving in school or if I wasn't doing well at school. My dad wanted to put the fear of God in me. I'm over that. Do you hear me? All of you watching this, do you hear me? I'm not afraid of any of you. So I'm saying this now. So he was angry with me, and he called me all kinds of names, and he swore, and he said the F word. Then he pulled out one of his guns that he had on the table, and he pointed it at me for 3 seconds. And then he pointed it toward himself, cocked the hammer, pulled the trigger, and fired the gun 3 times. There were no bullets in the gun. He just wanted to scare the living fuck out of me. Then we went, he closed it, he slapped me twice, telling me that I wasn't sorry for disappointing him. Then we went and watched TV back in our normal house, and I cried. I never wanted to kill myself more than that day. And I think my mom the next day must have told him something, but I'm willing to bet, in case you're watching, Mama, because I know you don't like the internet, she must have told him, if you don't stop taking a drink, if you keep taking a drink, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to leave you. That's my conjecture. My mom never told me this, and I never asked anyone. But I'm thinking that my mom did talk to him, but I never asked her. But I'm willing to bet. My dad drank I was 15 years old when I disappointed my dad that day. I'm 41, so that was a long time ago. I remembered. So my dad would drink Pepsi and orange juice for the rest of his life. He never drank. He did smoke cigars. And that's what he did to calm the nerves, to smoke about the marriage that he didn't want to be in. He would talk about being brilliant and being a Rhodes Scholar that he could never be, but he would drink like a lush and he would give me a good black eye if the time called for it, which I do believe. He gave me a black eye when I was a child. My mom, in her anger, would say that it was an accident. I don't know. It could be. It's entirely possible, but my gut feeling said it wasn't. So who knows? Anyway, going back to why I was bullied in school. I had a hard time in school. Those of you who are watching this and you saw the 7 links I gave you, I was bullied. I was never put my head in a toilet or anything like that, but kids trolled and bullied me. I remember buying a porno mag from one of them because I was curious about sexuality. But it's hard to trust anybody. I think after doing something like that, I never got my head in drugs or doing anything illegal. But I've done some stupid things when I was a kid, sure. I learned about pornography from them. But at the same time, they were just mean-spirited. They never took me seriously. They were just rude kids. Um, as kids, we would joke about blowing up the school or burning down the school. I was in a private Catholic school, but we never talked about hurting anyone in particular. We would just talk about the school system as a whole. Just burn down the school, fuck the school. Um, and also, I also felt that there wasn't anybody worth doing any harm to, as much as I hated. One of these kids who hazed and bullied me turned out to be an actor and is in a television show, and I will not say which one. But he was discovered somewhere, and then he ended up on an NBC show in '98, and then did various movies with various stars. He was in a superhero movie, and then he ended up on a TV show. I think for one of the either CBS, NBC, or ABC. I know which one, but I'm not telling you. So I'm a bit bitter towards that, sure. Um, but I don't think there's any. I'll tell you what. If there was any time I ever felt like firing a gun at someone, is that if my family pushed me that hard. But I stay away from them because I don't need to be around people that are going to hurt me mentally, verbally. My father abused me verbally and mentally as well as physically with a belt or the back of his hand, and that was hard. I mean, if there was only one person I felt like killing was my own father, and now he died of pancreatic cancer and diabetes and drinking too much and smoking and not exercising, which I do every fucking day of my life. I exercise. Actually, I exercise Monday through Fridays and not 3 times a week because I want to do more. So there's not a whole lot more to say. Um, I'm sorry for those people who lost people at Saugus High School in Santa Clarita. I'm sorry, Nathaniel, because the thing is, even though Nathaniel wasn't bullied, nobody talked to him enough. Parents have these kids, okay? You spread your thighs, you let one in, you get fucked, and then you have a baby. Oh, oops, I have a baby. Oops, but I'm going to keep the baby so that you'll stay with me in this relationship so that we'll be together. We're going to play house. We're going to play Dolly. Mama's home, Papa's home. Here's a little car. Here we are. We're together. But that was when you were little kids. That's when you were 5 or 6 years old. If you're 19, 20, 21, you fucked up. And then that kid is going to end up killing somebody 20 years later or 15 years later. And you didn't think about this at all. You didn't motherfucking think. You thought about your selfish selves. And you see it when your kids kill people. And when I think back at like even Virginia Tech, when that Korean kid who was angry and looking into the camera, really wide-eyed and angry and saying, I've had this, I had enough of this, talking shit. He was pissed off. And that was frightening to see that kid talk, and he was pissed off, and he killed, I think it was 25 people in Virginia Tech. He killed 25 people. I don't understand human nature like this. I mean, with Columbine, I was stunned. And Columbine was 3 years after I left high school. I don't know how to really solve this problem. Tom Lakis would say this is a normal thing. But just because it's a normal thing, and maybe Joe Rogan is probably leaning towards my opinion here, doesn't mean we should just accept it. We need to fix it. We need to figure out how to fix it. Killing the monsters is killing the monsters that are, it's, I don't know what it is. We have so many people on this planet. Do we need more people on this planet? I feel horrible towards the people of East LA. But if I went and shot up people in East LA and said my reason is to euthanize these stupid bastards who do stupid things, people would just feel sorry for them and they would just sympathize towards them and hate me. I would just be another bystander, another terrorist who kills just a few people to prove some sort of point and then kill myself. And then what's the point? That's why when my mom dies, I'm leaving East LA. I'm not coming back. I'm not dealing with my sister. Now, they can try to stop me. They can try to follow me and try to be near me, but it's not going to do anything. I'm not going to respond to you. I'm not going to do what you want. To my family, fuck you. Fuck you. Okay? And that's to tell you, you don't control me, you don't control what I want to do. Because in the end, I'm going to do for me, you're going to do for you. And right now, I'm in this segregated mood. I don't feel like working together with people yet until I know there are people who want to work together with me and we can get somewhere. So I just want to get my anger out and talk a bit. And thank you to those who listen. Let's try to love one another. Let's try to work together. I want to see good people in the real world, not hiding behind social media, but eye to eye, the way it needs to be. And let's try to move forward. I've got good projects to put out there, and I'm going to put them out there. And let's tomorrow is Monday, and that's a better day, I hope.